So, first question I've got for you. So, without the government, how do you think people would react and interact with each other, without that structure?
I think that people would probably interact better with each other because the government kind of places a lot of interesting perspectives on a lot of people that they apply to their everyday life. So I think it would be positive if they weren't as involved.
Is that in like a political sense? Like
Yeah, more of a political sense.
people bring
sure.
politics into their everyday lives and that can kind of mess things up?
Yep.
Makes sense. Okay.
Wise, I feel like majority of the people would just just want to do their own thing. Like they wouldn't like try to listen to anybody, and like if somebody tells them what to do or something, they'd be just kind of just like, no, like you can't tell me what to do. Like there's no laws or rules. Like why should I listen to you? So like I feel like a lot of people would like lose discipline. There's also like a certain small group of people who are disciplined who could live off themselves, but at the same time, majority of the population needs somewhat of a government to regulate laws, regulate what people are allowed to do and what not to do. So that's my stance on that.
Well, I think without government, things might get chaotic pretty quickly. I think one of two things. I think either people will start killing each other and taking whatever they want, or little like government, sub-government circles will form and like people have militias. It'll basically be like gangs.
I think they would only do it if they had to. And I think that a confrontation could happen really fast because there'd be no consequences.
I feel like if there wasn't government, then maybe there would be less opinions and then idealistic viewpoints. So if anything, maybe it could like make us more cohesive as a nation.
Good answer. Question: are you willing to sacrifice some freedoms for protection?
If it means saving my life and my family and friends, then yes, I'm willing to sacrifice some freedoms. But if it's for somebody like something I wouldn't like necessarily care about, then no. But I would like rather have my freedoms. But if it's for the loved ones and my family, then yes, I'm more than willing to give up my freedoms to have my own safety and for the safety of like my loved ones. So, but I feel like that would apply to a lot of people as well. So
Sweet.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do care about the safety of other people and the safety of myself, so I guess it just really depends on what I would sacrifice, but I think in general, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we do that right now because I feel like the freedom of privacy and having like something that's always knowing where you are, but the fact that something always knows where you are is also a safety aspect too. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. So there's, I guess, a threshold where the giving up and like the relinquishing of those freedoms then outweigh the security that comes with it.
That's worth it.
I don't think at that point it's worth it.
No. Never. Freedom is never worth safety.
Okay.
How big of a role does the government play in your personal life?
The government plays a very big role in my personal life. It's how I get my mail, it's the police that protect me, and it's the government that rules me.
Pretty much nothing, depending on what you're talking about. Personally speaking, not really. I don't really make any decisions based on the government, but socially speaking, a lot, because I do feel like there's a lot of restrictions on women.
Yeah, they
because of
dictate.
government policy.
Yeah.
Right now, probably not that big of a role. I would say in like the next like 3 to 4 years, it'll be much more engrossed in my life. It'll be just becoming another part of the system.
I don't know, I guess for me it kind of depends about like how I'm thinking about it. Because if I'm thinking about like policy and how new policy affects me, I feel like it doesn't really change much. But if I think about like all the infrastructure that we use all day, like running water, electricity, all that stuff, obviously the government has an enormous role to play in my life.
Okay.
So in terms of like, well, I mean, everybody's experiencing government every day. I mean, like taxes, laws, everything. Like to buy something, it's gonna be a sales tax. You know, like when you have to follow the traffic laws. You know, it's gonna be involved in your everyday life. And the thing is, that's what's gonna keep you in line. So that's something that I think. But yeah, it can play a significant majority of my life, but I feel like it can't like play a lot in my life. Like there has to be like some extent to like they should like lay off, but at the same time they should be there for like, I mean, for people like me, for like laws and like, you know, like maybe like the government does want to spend something and they want to like use certain taxes to spend it, then obviously then that's what more taxes are going to. So yeah, I'm pretty straightforward answer is like, yeah, I think they're pretty involved in my life and such forth. Yeah.
How involved ideally should the government be in our lives?
I don't know, how do you categorize involvement?
Like, I guess just how much power you think the government should have over personal freedoms, like decisions like that. How much involved should they be in your...
I think the government should be like practically neutered, like as close to ineffectual as possible. I think the more the people govern this country, the better.
There has to be a certain amount of personal freedom and personal choices, but in order to have a civilized society, there has to be rules and there has to be somebody in charge.
Not at all, probably. I think it complicates things, and it divides people in general, in my opinion, especially in this country. So
Definitely currently, I can see that. But like the protection aspect, you know, you kind of think that should be there, right? So it's a little bit mixed.
yeah, it's like a mixed bag.
Okay.
I think it should be a good 50-50. This is where I feel like people should have their own freedoms and wants, but also at the same time, there should be somebody to keep people in line. So I'm assuming what I'm saying is like, yeah, people should be able to, you know, express their like rights, to express their freedom of speech, you know, amendments, whatnot. But at the same time, there has to be a little regulation and monitoring for that. And that's for like those disciplined people that we need to keep out for like the undisciplined people. So that's my stance on it.
Good.
I personally don't like the government being involved at all. If it has something to do with free healthcare, for sure. Like something that actually gives back and has the power of the nation behind it. I think it's something very powerful, but I also cherish individual liberties.
Nice. And what is more important to you, safety or freedom?
So in the sense, I would prefer safety over freedom, because how am I supposed to have my freedoms when I'm not safe? You know? So how am I supposed to be free when I know, like, I can't, for some reason, like, for example, like, let's say, random example is like, oh, like, police tell you to stay inside because there's a shooter outside, like, a couple weeks ago, you know, the whole incident. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go outside and do whatever I want, because that's like, you know, freedom, whatever, I can do whatever I want. But it's like, at that point, it's like, follow the laws for your own protection, you know, and they can be the same for people on welfare, people who are struggling to buy, like, on paycheck to paycheck, and just like stuff like that. But yeah, because like, how you're supposed to have your freedom when you're not safe. That's my stance on it.
All right, well, thank you.
Of course.
All right, sweet.
I can't do that one. I can't answer that one without like a 45-minute discussion. We live in a free country, but I also want to be safe. And the objective of what's going on now, can't do it.
I think that both of them are probably equal, in my opinion. I think that they both play a part in everyone's life, so neither one is more important or less important to me.
Find a way to maximize both. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think individual freedom. I think that if I could go out into the like land and like homestead and like know that I have myself and I don't need any like government any government-based program to help me, I'd rather the former. Thanks.
Freedom. Always freedom. Because safety comes at such a high price. And to make everyone safe all the time, you have to strip everyone's argument and everyone's freedoms at any time. So always freedom, because there's such a heavy price to be paid for safety.
Okay, thank you.